we're not gonna leave parallel tracks on.
I just wanna feel your love. I just wanna feel your love.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is SD. Today we are continuing our Transport Fever 2 series of recreating SCR. So right before we get started, I'm gonna apologize because I screwed around with my OBS settings, and so it only recorded like 2/5 of the screen. So don't mind that for now. It should be fixed in the next couple of episodes. Hopefully today we can start work towards the Morgantown branch or get that whole cluster of tracks at St. Helens Bridge done. So yeah, let's get started. So I've done some work while off camera, and as you can see, we've got the Whitefield branch pretty much complete. We've got mediocre Stepford High Street due to the lack of curved platforms. We have Whitefield Lido and its accompanying siding, and an abandoned siding because I don't have a good enough mod. Hopefully I can find one soon. We hover over to Stepford United Football Club, where we have a 170 and a 350 currently pulling in. Then we continue on, we have our Woodhead Lane depots, and Woodhead Lane itself with a dusty bin. Then we've got Houghton Rake, of course, and Whitefield, which is a confusing station in terms of Transport Fever because only 2 services travel to the station, even though there's 3 platforms. So obviously to go towards Morgantown, we need to have St. Helens Bridge complete. So as you see, I have a St. Helens Bridge station ready, so we're just going to start by demolishing these tracks right over here, and we are going to connect the main line up to St. Helens Bridge. So I'm hoping by the end of this episode we can get to... Oh, we're not going to leave parallel tracks on. Let's try that again, this time without parallel tracks interrupting us. I'll just get rid of all the tracks there. But like I was saying, I hope to get to around, pardon me, Ellesmere Pond or Ellesmere Junction by the end of this episode. If not, then we can cram Ellesmere Junction into another episode. So yeah, let's get started on the work. We're hooking up the tracks for the Connect platforms right now. That's platform 3 for all you dispatchers who dispatch out here. So instead of curving it out like this so that we don't clip into that platform, we're going to bring it back towards the main line. It's not going to dip, and so there we go. And then we have our express platforms. So that's probably going to be the simplest part of assembling all of this up. And ta-da! The tracks from Stepford East to St. Helens Bridge are complete. So now is for the hard part, where the Express, Airlink, and Connect to Lynn tracks split up, which is going to be a large pain considering how much track is within there. So let's get started. So the first order of business today is we're going to start with that terminating track from St. Helens Bridge with the services to Edgemead and West Wyvern, so that we can line up the eastbound tracks and get that crossover and that signal box laid out correctly. And I think I have leveled that off incorrectly, so let's get rid of that and try that again. So for all of you SCR players, you know that right off of track 3 is a stairwell that I currently don't have in the game at the moment, which is why we're starting off with this straight piece for now. And since the stairwell is there, that means that the whole signal block has to be pushed in front of it in the game. So we're going to try to do that as accurately as possible. So now we've got both those tracks laid out, so we're going to start with that junction and construct that. And then once we get all this track laid out, we'll start with the signals. So we're going to bring those tracks out a bit and eventually switch to the wooden sleepers in a couple moments here, because that's what it does in the game. So these are the tracks that eventually end up descending towards Angel's Pass and make that northbound turn. So we're going to be pretty much basing the entire build off of these two tracks. So I think the one thing that I'm concerned about for St. Helens Bridge is that the signaling is super awkward around here, and it can get gridlocked pretty easily. But that's the whole point of the series, is to find out if SCR would work as an actual railway. So let's test it. Here, we're started with the wooden sleepers. So we're gonna bring out these wooden sleepers a little bit more so that we can get that little branch that splits the connect train, the one that kind of goes off to the okay, not gonna ask there. So yeah, let's start with that. It might be a bit far off, but this is a good place to start, so let's go through with that. We're gonna bring out that other track because we don't want this to be a sloppy asymmetrical mess, although it already is, so it won't matter. There's a bear, that's nice. So then we're gonna bring out that platform 5 section, because that also continues straight. That's the track that comes from Morgantown for the Connect services. So now, I've always wondered what happens if you build over a bear, because I've never had the liberty of ever doing that in any Transport Fever, neither 1 nor 2. So I'm interested as to what happens. So let's finish these tracks and switch them to the wooden sleepers and build over that bear. Now, what I'm having a hard time doing here is keeping this track from joining with the tracks in the middle, and I've just gotten rid of that quickly, so I'm gonna move this up a bit so that we have enough room for that junction. And yeah, let's bring that out so that we can actually make that junction. Should we? Yeah, let's make that junction right now. We want to keep it at a 45 speed limit, so the game uses kilometers, which means that 45 miles per hour would be around 72 kilometers an hour, if my math is right. So yeah, that junction should definitely work, and we are going to get rid of that junction because this should be further out and have that more appropriate speed limit. And while we're doing this, we may as well build this junction out to its actual dimensions, which is about 1 track space away from the other track there that it comes off of. So this clearly isn't working. So I have an idea. Parallel track mod allows you to separate tracks by up to 10 meters, yet still keep them aligned with each other. So what if I were to build a track and just connect them together? That would make things way easier, so let's do that. So I'm just trying to find the appropriate place to start the junction. I think it would be the far right track. Okay, let's not do that. Let's try from the other direction then. So let's just hook these up, and then we've pretty much done most of the forward part of the station on the east side. But now comes the tricky part. So brace yourselves. Let's get started. Okay, I'm trying to decide what the first rodeo today is going to be, and I think it is going to be that track that sticks out because we are going to start our descent a little bit earlier. So we're just going to get rid of that and build the new tracks. So this descent is not so much steep as it is long, so we're going to try to keep that gradient as close as flat to possible while we're building this. Okay, so it doesn't have to be that long, but I feel like some length is still necessary. So let's cut that back and then build it, and then let's go for the second set of tracks that we're building here. Let's angle that up a bit because we want it, and I've left parallel tracks on again. I'm setting records here for leaving parallel tracks on. I think once we level out here, this is where we're going to start the curve. So let's get that. We want to make sure that it keeps confined to that 72 kilometer speed limit, which is 45 miles an hour. So let's line that up there, and that is good by the looks of it. So all clear, let's build it. And now we just need to double it up. So let's just get that other track and wrap it around. And it magnetizes like that, and we've done the northbound curve. So one of my expectations for this series is that SCR won't be as economically viable as, you know, you'd think it would in the Roblox game. Because the amount of depots, tracks, routes, and vehicle fleet, the absolute variety of vehicles that they maintain, it would be, all I can say is that would feel kind of expensive, honestly, and we're going to be dealing with the tracks trying to do a loop-da-doop-da. So let's get rid of those for a second and see if we can use zero height bridge to fix this. First thing we want to do is, nope, it's not working. That's cool. Let's give it another try. Okay, yeah, but this bridge is not going to work at all. Okay, let's see. I'm looking through the different bridges we have right now and finding out which one would be best for the task. This one looks good for the most part, so let's try this one and hope that it, and of course, zero height bridge doesn't do its job. How expected. Alright, so I'm giving it one last chance to work. So if it, and that's just wonderful. Okay then. So you know what? I'm gonna build a proper bridge. So I'm gonna start by sifting through the bridge types and see which one looks the most like the one at St. Helens Bridge. It would probably be one of the ones in the British pack, but as far as it seems, it's probably the one malfunctioning. And it's also causing zero height bridge to glitch out. So I'm probably just going to use the default stone bridge model. So we're just going to start by getting this bridge done. So we're going to start with the first part that obviously goes upwards, I would hope. Once we construct that, we are going to make the level part. And then I'm gonna do something once I straighten that out. I'm gonna see if the bridge pillars allow a track to fit through them, or if they move or something interesting like that. Okay, so actually, let's not put it there, let's put it where the pillar... Okay, so they move, that is convenient. So I'm going to go ahead and reattach these tracks, and then just build the bridge right over it, and I've left on parallel tracks yet again. So yeah, let's try that again. And then we are going to finish our bridge over it. Just trying to find the best angle where it doesn't clip with the tracks, and the pillar is still close enough, like it's not a stupidly unrealistic distance apart. Then we are going to flatten it out, I think. That was probably a good idea, considering if you see the catenaries are clipping with the bridge. So we're going to start a descent for the bridge there. And now is the tricky part, because we want to get the bridge at the same height it was at the beginning of the, the bridge. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that. I might have to do it by eye, but I could also use parallel tracks to my advantage. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to finish constructing this track, which goes towards Stepford Central from the Morganstown branch, to kind of line it up, because that one stays the same height for the entire time, and we are going to use parallel tracks to find out the distance between the tracks so far. Okay, so after fiddling with that for a bit, I've finally gotten the track alignment right, so we're finally going to hook up the bridge to the tracks and get this all over with. So it's definitely not the bridge in the game, but it's a bridge. Once I get zero height working, I'll probably redo this bridge so that it looks slightly more true to itself. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this track in the middle that I used for the placement, and then we are going to hook up the eastbound track with the westbound track so that it is all perfect. And then to top it all off, we will get the Airlink tracks hooked up all next to it. So we are almost done St. Helens Bridge. And just like that, the pin is driven into the sleeper. Our next task is getting those Airlink tracks hooked up, which should be really easy, especially if I use parallel tracks. So we're gonna get started on that. So the tricky thing with the Airlink platforms is I can't build them all the way, because they need to line up to bypass New Harrow. So I'm gonna save doing that for the next episode, which means once I do this, the episode is now concluded. So as you can see, we've got our nice bear crossing the tracks. So that's pretty much what happens. It just morphs up the wall. Alright, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to see more of the Transport Fever 2 SCR series, then make sure you hit like and you subscribe so that we can get all the way to Morgantown and eventually to Lynn. This has been Partially SD, and I will see you guys again shortly. Adios!